Hey guys, back with another target audience reaction. This is going to be DS9 Season 4. It's technically episode 1 and 2, or it's a 90-minute, it's Way of the Warrior. And they did split it up, I believe, in airing. So I'm just going to have it be Way of the Warrior, and since it's a two-parter, I'm going to talk a little longer. This is going to be... I'm still going to have it this format, but it's not technically going to be a short. So there's a lot of stuff here. I mean, there's kind of the prelude to the Klingons, there's Cardassian stuff going on, and the change of government, and the Klingons believe that because of this sudden change in the Cardassian government, that means that they've been taken over by Founders, or the Dominion or whatever. So then they go on an offensive and an all-out war to, which Starfleet says, look, you can't do that. You can't just invade. We're allies with the Khitomer Accords or whatever. And so we can't allow you to just be, searching and seizing vessels, no matter who it is. Now, I try to typically keep these things non-spoilery, right? But this is a unique situation that I want to point out, and it's something that's kind of bothered me for a number of years watching the show, and I'm not sure if it's kind of like a shadow retcon or what, but so we are under the impression that General Martok is General Martok, right? And he meets with Sisko and Kira and is talking to them, and he insists on them doing a blood check to make sure none of them are Founders, right? He's the one, even suggesting it and insisting upon it. So he goes to cut he cuts his own hand, drips down on the table. Sisko and Kira do the same thing. And then all of a sudden, it's like they're, going on and on about the thoughts of the possibilities of changelings, stuff like that. So later on in the show, when Worf finds Martok at a Dominion internment camp or prison or whatever, and he says to Worf, yes, I've heard of you. And I'm like, well, wait, you met him in Way of the Warrior. He, his son is being a total douchebag and, whatever. And then Worf basically fucks him up, takes his knife, cutlass or whatever it's called, and then Martok comes and what have I done to earn the disrespect of the son of Mogh, whatever. Did any of that happen? Was that already a changeling? And if so, then just like Sisko's dad said, at this point in the series, changelings have been able to figure out a way to bleed and, whatever, whether, like his dad suggests, let's say he killed a human or took human blood, kept it inside of his body as a changeling, and is able to, let it out as a cut, something, because, we're under the impression, this is Martok, right? And so it's not till way, way later, I think a season later or way later in the season, the end of season 4, that you get to find out, and no, it's actually, it must be season 5, that you get to find out that Martok has been replaced. And he says he's been in there for 2 years or a year and a half or however long, which then it's okay, wait, was that Martok already a changeling at that point? And so again, they must have they must have that ability to deceive with the blood testing. We saw how Bashir, as the changeling, on the Defiant, with the Thing kind of episode, he was the changeling, and he took someone else's blood and filled it with himself to make it look like Eddington was the changeling. So, like, clearly they're able to fool us, the audience, or, the Starfleet people, and either make it look like someone who isn't a changeling is a changeling, or make it look like someone who is a changeling isn't a changeling. So, yeah, that's definitely interesting. And so this whole episode, Way of the Warrior, and Worf comes and he's kind of disgruntled, and they really enjoyed this episode. I mean, to me, this is some peak DS9. The fight seems epic, and it's kind of been building up, and they've been kind of preparing for the Dominion. So when the Klingons go to attack the base, DS9, it's like, dude, they have 5,000 photon torpedoes or whatever. I don't know how you resupply that, how long it would take to get, where these weapons come from, and how fast they can be made to, like, supply a station with 5,000 photon torpedoes, but it's crazy that, it's a really good battle. They come onto the station, you have the hand-to-hand stuff, and Kira gets stabbed, and then it turns out to be non-fatal. A lot of close quarters fighting. O'Brien gets, messed up, taken out, hit by a phaser or something. But yeah, it's really good. There's a lot of character moments. As they were pointing out, there's a lot of character moments with Worf. Like, Worf gets time, and it makes sense. These characters have already been established for the first few seasons. So for him to get kind of a section with each, he gets a little dialogue with Odo, and he gets some, meeting Dax and Kira in Quark's bar, and he gets some time with Bashir and O'Brien, and, all this different stuff. So it is kind of cool to see his interactions with all these different characters, and, detesting Quark immediately, just another Ferengi, and, a greedy Ferengi, and whatever. So, yeah, it's a really good episode, and then I'm glad that, then at the end, he decides to stay on, and I'm gonna raise this as another thing, and these are, nitpicky things, but, I always, wonder about the uniforms, and I'm like, why is it that, he comes on the station, and he's wearing, the older style TNG uniform, and when admirals come on, they're wearing that uniform. Is that something to do with Starfleet headquarters? Similar to the dress uniform stays that classic TNG style, but then they have the DS9 where it's flipped, and they have the color up top and the purple turtleneck or whatever. And so it's just such a weird thing to me. Why certain vessels or certain positions? I mean, I guess I understand at the time, if there's some logic about okay, well, Enterprise, that's a flagship. Admirals, we want it to have this standard classic look, but maybe on the further outskirts of the Federation, we're not so picky, and so there's a secondary uniform they can wear. Yeah, and it's weird. And then even in TNG, Generations, it's mix and match. I mean, there's times where on the bridge, Riker's in a DS9 uniform, Worf's still in the, standard uniform, and then vice versa, flip with Geordi and Data and Picard, and it's I figured it was mainly a plot device to sell toys and to have the different variants of each outfit and each costume, but So I don't know. And then later on, they changed to the new uniform, the First Contact uniform, and the, later DS9 uniform. So that's all. But yet, you'll still see admirals in the old TNG uniform. And then eventually, like Admiral Ross, eventually does get that newer style uniform. But yeah, some of that stuff is so weird. And then they brought up in the episode yesterday, they were just reacting to what is it, this ship or ship down or something, I can't remember, but where they're trapped in the nebula, and they were mentioning, and this again is something where it's like, wait, O'Brien didn't go to the academy, and like engineers, like some of them are just like crewmen that like maybe they're knowledgeable about engineering, but like didn't actually go to the academy or something. And so some of that I've always kind of questioned, like, but whatever. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff in this episode. They loved it. They were over the moon about the episode. Really enjoyed it. And so what do you guys think about Way of the Warrior, the full 2 parts, or the full extended, and the fact that Way of the Warrior was in some ways billed as like a soft reboot of the show, like they were trying to re-energize the show. And it's funny because Voyager ends up doing kind of the same thing in season 4, like kind of a shake-up, bring in someone new, change the dynamics a little bit of like how they're telling stories and stuff. So yeah, I'd love to know what you guys thought about their reaction and about, anything I had to say about it. And we will see you in the next one. Thanks.